left Sunday and came back yesterday. We got to see the Northern Lights with our own eyes. It was fantastic. Yeah, we went swimming in a frozen lake. Not really swimming, more like floating. And we went snowmobiling. This is not how we vacation very often. Usually we just go and hang out and eat and, look at stuff. And this was run. It was fun. Some announcements this week. After church today, we're building a float for the parade, for our Fat Sunday parade, which will be happening next Sunday. So make sure you come and eat and enjoy the great music and celebrate with our church community as we celebrate the coming of Lent. One big last hurrah. And it is a Bring a Friend Sunday. We're going to pull out all the stops. The bells are playing, the choir singing, the brass band is playing. Pastor's going to give a short sermon. I mean, there's lots of reasons. You're going to wish I hadn't heard that before I preached today. No. All right. So we have that. Yes.
You can see.
I made this quilt, and I want to have a drawing for it.
Oh my goodness.
It's beautiful.
It is gorgeous. Wow.
And the tickets are just $2 each. So you could have this quilt for $2. What about it? So $2 or 3 for $5. They're just little tickets that you put your name and phone number on the back. You keep one, I keep one, and
Okay.
we'll draw it at the end of next Sunday. So the tickets are in the back. I mean, it's a pretty big size. It's definitely a twin size or a full size topper.
So it's not for the person that's only emotional.
It's just gorgeous.
Well, you
But
can buy lots of tickets.
buy most
Odds
tickets.
would be in your favor
Yeah.
if you bought a lot of tickets. All right. Yes. Okay.
Our family concert for Project Stern is scheduled for June 7th at 2 o'clock. That's Sunday. The call has gone out for musicians. So if anybody wants to participate as a musician, please see me, email me, whatever you can do. The next following Saturday, the 13th, will be the Hunger Rumble 5K event in Sheridan Park. It's a week earlier this year due to logistics with our starter. But to let you know, the posters and everything will be coming out really soon. So hope to see you all there.
Great.
And one more thing, thanks everyone for the baby stuff that we're gonna take over to Project Concern this week. So there's a whole pile of it out there if you haven't seen it. So thanks everyone who donated that.
All right. Well, on a personal note, one of our members, Chris Sutton, got word from her care team that the chemotherapy is no longer going to be working for her. And so she is going to seek the best quality of life as long as she can. And I imagine that will be a good long time because she's a fighter. And I got the same message from a young woman at my other church this morning, which makes the sermon I'm going to give about healing the man by the pool all that much more interesting. So, all right. Please stand.
Today's reading is from Psalm chapter 40, verses 1 through 5. I patiently waited for the Lord. He inclined to me and heard my cry. He drew me up from the desolate pit, out of the miry bog, and set my feet upon a rock, making my steps secure. He put a new song in my mouth, a song of praise to our God. May we see and fear and put their trust in the Lord. Happy are those who make the Lord their trust, who do not turn to the proud, to those who go astray after false gods. You have multiplied, O Lord my God, your wondrous deeds and your thoughts toward us. None can compare with you. Were I to proclaim and tell of them, they would be more than can be counted. The word of the Lord.
The Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Then he came again to Cana in Galilee, where he had changed the water into wine. Now there was a royal official whose son lay ill in Capernaum. When he heard that Jesus had come from Judea to Galilee, he went and begged him to come down and heal his son, for he was at the point of death. Then Jesus said to him, "Unless you see signs and wonders, you will not believe." The official said to him, "Sir, come down before my little boy dies." Jesus said to him, "Go, your son will live." The man believed in the word that Jesus spoke to him and started on his way. As he was going down, his slaves met him and told him that his child was alive. So he asked them the hour when it began to recover. And they said to him, "Yesterday at 1 in the afternoon, the fever left him." The father realized that this was the hour when Jesus had said, "Your son will live." So he himself believed along with his whole household. Now this was the second sign that Jesus did after coming from Judea to Galilee. After this, there was a festival of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now in Jerusalem, by the sheep gate, there is a pool called in Hebrew Bethesda, which has 5 porticos. In these lay many invalids, blind, lame, and paralyzed. One man was there who had been there ill for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had been there for a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be made well?" The sick man answered him, "Sir, I have no one to put me in the pool when the water is stirred up. While I am making my way, someone else steps down ahead of me." Jesus said to him, "Stand up and take your mat and walk." At once the man was made well. And he got up and he took his mat and began to walk. Now, on that day was the Sabbath. So the Jews said to the man who had been cured, "It is the Sabbath. It is not lawful for you to carry your mat." But he answered them, "The man who made me well said to me, 'Take up your mat and walk.'" They asked him, "Who is the man who said this to you? Take it up and walk." Now the man who had been healed did not know who it was, for Jesus had disappeared in the crowd that was there. Later, Jesus found him in the temple and said to him, "See, you have been made well. Do not sin anymore, so that nothing worse happens to you." The man went away and told the Jews that it was Jesus who had made him well. Therefore, the Jews started persecuting Jesus because he was doing such things on the Sabbath. But Jesus answered them, "My Father is still working, and I also am working." For this reason, the Jews were seeking all the more to kill him, because he was not only breaking the Sabbath, but he was calling God his own Father, thereby making himself equal to God. The Gospel of the Lord. There was a controversy and some new information from archaeology that might help us to solve it. Does that pique your interest at all? it says that outside by the sheep gate, there was a pool named Bethsaida. And it had 5 porticos. A portico is sort of like a little nook. Only problem is, the pool of Bethsaida only has 3 porticos. Oops. That caused someone who was copying the scriptures, like a scribe, to try to help us to understand what was going on here. And he added one whole verse to the Bible that wasn't in the original manuscripts. And now, responsible Bibles, like the NRSV translation, no longer include it. Now, does that pique your attention? It sounds like the Bible way. So verse 4, when it was added in a later manuscript by a scribe, said that the angel of the Lord would stir up the water at the pool of Bethsaida. Only problem is, recent excavation of this pool of Bethsaida has found that underneath the pool of Bethsaida, that has how many porticos? 3. There is another one it was built on, and it has 5. Only this was not a Jewish mikvah or pool or bath. This was a Greek temple. Oops. But really, knowing this, that's why they went back and took verse 4 out, because the Spirit of the Lord, the angel of the Lord, did not go to the Greek temple to stir up the water. In fact, at the Greek temple, the way to get healed was to be the first one into the water. Kind of a, I guess, it's not what you know, it's who you know, and how fast they can get you into the water. Seems a little arbitrary, doesn't it? You're not healed based on your merits, you're healed based on how fast someone can get you into the water after it gets stirred up by someone other than the Spirit of the Lord. Well, that's what you expect in a Greek temple. Not what you'd expect at the pool of Bethsaida. But, I mean, once this week and once this morning, I've heard from people younger than retirement age that their chemo is no longer working. We've been praying, working hard. How come some people find healing even in the medicine and some people don't? It's a good question, isn't it? I remember when my own father was dying with cancer. Back when I was mid-20s. And my dad believed that the reason he got cancer was so that God could miraculously heal them and he could be a witness to everyone to believe in God. Now, he was a pastor, but he believed this with all his heart. Right up until 2 weeks before he died, he was still taking speaking engagements because he was interested to tell people about the great healing that was going to occur. And yet, it didn't. What do we do with that? Well, one message is that sometimes our healing doesn't happen until the next life. Not a very satisfying thing for this people who want to be healed in this life. I understand that. So when Jesus came to the pool, he asked the man who'd been there for 38 years. He was a Jewish man, but he was at a and say, yes, I want to be healed, or no, I don't want to be healed, he has an excuse. Well, I'm never here when the water is stirred. I'm never the first one in when the water is stirred up. And Jesus says, take your mat and walk. And he does. It's not about some random thing or doing it right or having all the steps in place or believing the right things. It's just about trusting in God. Take up your mat and walk. Now, he didn't see because he didn't know who Jesus was and didn't get a good look. So when the temple officials asked him, so who is this that told you to carry your mat on the Sabbath? He says, I don't know. I didn't get it. I didn't catch his name. Well, please tell us. Now, people, it is not because someone was carrying a mat on the Sabbath. That's not the reason they were so upset. They were upset because someone was claiming to have a different path to healing, a different path to wholeness, a different path to a relationship with God than the law. The Jewish elders and leaders had made their whole life around keeping the law as a way to influence God into doing what? To bless him. Jesus came along and found somebody who had completely given up and said simply, take your mat and walk. They were upset because Jesus was saying there's a new way to connect with God. And you might say, well, how come when Jesus saw him later, he said, go and don't sin anymore, or you're going to be right back where you started from? Well, knowing this, where he started from was a place of desperation, trying to be healed from some Greek god that doesn't exist. This was not a punishment for sin. God is not going to punish this man for sinning. He was saying, in sinning, what you're doing is barking up the wrong tree. You're putting yourself in the wrong place. We don't need to either go search of some God of healing or follow the law perfectly in hopes of manipulating God. Jesus came to bring about a new way of relating to God. And Jesus says to you, take up your